Hello everyone and welcome to Evolution of the Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring is a 1986 interactive fiction game, based on the first volume of Tolkien's novel The Lord of the Rings, describing the efforts of the hobbits Frodo, Pippin, and Sam in their quest to bring the ring to Mount Doom. War in Middle-earth is a real-time strategy game, released in 1988 by Virgin Mastertronic. The game combines both large-scale army unit level and small-scale character level. All the action happens simultaneously in game world. The Lord of the Rings Volume 1 is a 1990 role-playing video game, published by Interplay Productions. The player gradually recruits various members of the Fellowship, and while the game can be completed by following the novel for the most part. Riders of Rohan is a computer video game from 1991, based upon the fictional War of the Rings set in the Middle-earth. The massive-scale simulation takes part in the realm of Rohan, and the player controls the forces of good during the onslaught of the forces of evil. The Lord of the Rings Volume 2. The Two Towers was released in 1992. The game takes place slightly before its predecessor ends at the dark forest of Fangorn. The story splits into several journeys of different characters similar to the book. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, is a 2000 action-adventure video game developed by WXP for the Xbox. The player controls one of three characters in the game: Frodo Baggins, Aragorn, and Gandalf, each of whom has their own weapons and abilities. The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers is a 2000 action hack and slash video game developed by Stormfront Studios. The game features levels taken either directly from scenes in The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers films, or based closely on elements from the films. The Hobbit is a 2003 action-adventure game. Developed by Inevitable Entertainment, the player controls Bilbo Baggins, the majority of which is built around basic platforming. Bilbo can jump, climb ropes and ladders, hang onto ledges, swing on vines. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King is a 2003 hack and slash action game developed by Redwood Shores. A major change from The Two Towers is the interactive nature of the game environments. The player can operate machinery, for example bridges and catapults, to complete objectives. The Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring, is a 2003 RTS developed by Liquid Entertainment. Player gets to control hero units with special abilities. Most regular units also have abilities of their own. The Lord of the Rings, The Third Age was released in 2004. Gameplay in Third Age is split into two different modes: third-person exploration through a 3D overworld and combat mode, consisting of turn-based gameplay. The Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth, is a 2000 for real-time strategy video game developed by Los Angeles. In the Battle for Middle-earth, buildings may only be constructed on the building slots of predefined plots. The Lord of the Rings, Tactics, is a 2005 tactical role-playing game PSP. The game's characters move at the same time, rather than manipulating each entity individually. Another feature of the game is called the Zone of Control. The Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2, was released in 2006. The story for The Battle for Middle-earth 2 is divided into good and evil campaigns. The good campaign focuses on Glorfindel, an elf who is alerted to a planned attack on the Elven Sanctuary. The Lord of the Rings Online is a 2007 massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Players control a character avatar within the game world, interacts with objects. NPCs and other players, characters gain levels by earning experience points. The Lord of the Rings Conquest is a 2009 action game developed by Pandemic Studios. The game is generally objective-based, requiring the player to defeat a certain number of enemies, or hold a position until a timer runs out. The Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest is an action-adventure video game released in 2010. During combat, the player has 5 basic sword attack moves: an upward swipe, a downward swipe, a left swipe, a right swipe, and a thrust. The Lord of the Rings, War in the North is a 2011 action role-playing hack-and-slash video game developed by Snowblind Studios. The game features 3 playable characters: Eredin, Farin, and Endril. Each character has its own weaponry and abilities. LEGO The Lord of the Rings is a 2012 LEGO-themed action-adventure video game developed by Traveller's Tales. The game follows the original but spoofed storylines of film trilogy, taking players through the epic story events, reimagined with the humor and endless variety of LEGO play. Guardians of Middle-earth is a 2012 multiplayer online battle arena video game developed by Monolith Productions. Up to 10 players may split into 2 teams of 5, and from a pool of 36 Guardians from the Lord of the Rings franchise. LEGO The Hobbit was released in 2014. The game presents storylines from the Hobbit films, an unexpected journey and desolation of Smaug. However, the developers modified the storylines to fit the events into a number of game chapters per film. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor is a 2014 action-adventure video game developed by Monolith Productions. Players can engage in melee combat and use wraith abilities to fight and manipulate enemies. The game introduces the Nemesis system. Middle-earth, Shadow of War was released in 2017. The game features a currency called Mirian, which is earned by defeating enemies. Players can spend the Mirian and finish unlocked challenges in order to upgrade their weapons. As players progress in the game, they will collect legendary gear. The Lord of the Rings is a 2021 strategy mobile game developed by NetEase. Epic tales of old, be it of love, friendship, or glory, are in days bygone. A new War of the Ring is on the horizon, and the fate of Middle-earth now falls into your hands. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a 2023 action-adventure game developed by Daedalic Entertainment. The player controls Gollum through a series of locations such as Cirithungol, Barad-dûr, and Mirkwood, as he attempts to find Bilbo Baggins and retake the One Ring whilst battling and avoiding Sauron. The Lord of the Rings, Heroes of Middle-earth is a 2023 turn-based RPG mobile game developed by eCapital Games. PvP or story pave the way for legendary battles and social competition in an epic turn-based strategy game. The Lord of the Rings, Return to Moria is a 2023 survival crafting video game developed by Free Range Games. It follows a company of dwarves as they try to retake their homeland Moria and restore the long-lost ancient kingdom of Khazad-dûm.